Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow dreamers, I stand before you today with a message that is both simple and profound. Stop being nice. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let me explain. What do I mean by being nice? I am not talking about kindness or compassion. These are the virtues that make us human, that connect us to one another, and that make the world a better place. What I'm talking about is the need to constantly please others at the expense of your own peace, your own desires, and your own authenticity. Too often we are taught to be nice in ways that compromise our integrity, our dreams, and even our mental health. We wear a mask of pleasantries, all the while ignoring the truth within ourselves. It's so easy to say yes when we mean no. It's so easy to accommodate when we know that we should be standing our ground. We stay silent when our voice deserves to be heard. We shrink when we deserve to shine, and we bend when we deserve to stand tall. Why? Because we have been conditioned to think that nice is the only way to win affection, to gain approval, and to avoid conflict. We have been taught that our worth comes from how others perceive us, and that in order to be accepted, we must always be pleasing. But here's the truth. You will never truly thrive in a space that requires you to be less of who you are. Being nice all the time is exhausting. It is draining. It eats away at the very essence of who you are. And here's the twist. When you live your life just trying to be nice, you lose the opportunity to be real. You lose the chance to be unapologetically. So, I challenge you today, stop being nice. Stop living for the approval of others. Instead, live for your truth. Live for your passion. Live for the person you were always meant to be. It's okay to say no. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to take up space and be bold in your authenticity. Your worth does not depend on how much you give away to others at the cost of yourself. When you stop being nice, you start being real. You begin to value yourself. You embrace your flaws, your imperfections, and your uniqueness. And guess what happens when you do that? You start to inspire others to do the same. Because realness is magnetic, realness is powerful, and realness is what the world needs. So I leave you with this. Stop being nice. Be brave enough to be bold, to be fierce, and to be unapologetically yourself. Live your life for you, not for the expectations of others, but for the dreams that live deep inside your heart. Certainly, here's the expansion of Keynote. In a world that often values conformity, it can be incredibly challenging to stay true to yourself. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to fit in, to please others, to be nice, and to follow the path that others lay out for us. We grow up being told to be polite, to smile when we don't feel like smiling, to avoid conflict, and to seek approval. Over time, this pressure to please others becomes ingrained in us, shaping our behavior and, more importantly, shaping how we perceive our own worth. But here's the thing, authenticity is far more important than pleasing others. Authenticity is the foundation of living a life that is truly your own. It is the courage to show up as you are, to stand tall in your truths, and to embrace both your strengths and weaknesses without fear of judgment. When you choose authenticity over the need to please, you free yourself from the chains of expectation. You stop worrying about how others perceive you, and instead you focus on who you are at your core. In doing so, you create space for growth, creativity, and real connection with others. Pleasing others, on the other hand, often comes with a high price. It can rob you of your individuality, blur your boundaries, and leave you feeling exhausted and unfulfilled. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of trying to meet everyone's expectations, whether it's at work, in friendships, or even within family dynamics. You might find yourself agreeing to things you don't actually want to do, saying yes to things that drain you, and wearing a mask of happiness or contentment when deep down you're not okay. This pattern of people pleasing often comes from a deep-rooted fear of rejection or conflict. We fear that if we are not nice, we will be judged, abandoned, or misunderstood. And so we conform to the image others have of us, silencing our true selves in the process. We put everyone else's needs before our own, sometimes without even realizing it, because we believe that our value is tied to how well we make others happy. But in reality, this does more harm than good. When we please others at the expense of our own needs and desires, we are engaging in a form of self-betrayal. We are telling ourselves that our needs, our dreams, and our values are not as important as someone else's. This can lead to feelings of resentment, burnout, and a sense of losing control over your own life. We forget that we are the ones who get to decide who we are, how we show up in the world, and what we stand for. The pressure to please others also prevents us from developing a strong sense of self. Authenticity is the process of peeling away the layers of external expectations to reveal the person you were always meant to be. It's about acknowledging your own desires, passions, and values, and allowing them to guide you in everything you do. When we choose authenticity over pleasing others, we begin to make decisions that are aligned with our true selves. We start to pursue careers, relationships, and hobbies that resonate with us on a deeper level. We stop pretending to be someone we're not, and we embrace who we truly are. Flaws, imperfections, and all. But authenticity isn't just about expressing your individuality. It's also about accepting yourself fully. It's about being comfortable with your vulnerabilities and your mistakes. When you stop trying to please everyone around you, you start to accept that you won't always be liked, and that's okay. Not everyone will agree with your choices, your ideas, or your way of life, and that's perfectly fine. The more you try to please others, the more you lose sight of who you are. But when you stand in your truth, you give yourself the freedom to make choices that align with your values, and in doing so, you attract the right people and opportunities into your life. One of the most powerful aspects of authenticity is its ability to create real and meaningful connections. When you stop pretending and start showing up as your true self, you invite others to do the same. Authenticity fosters trust, vulnerability, and mutual respect. It allows you to connect with others on a deeper level because you are no longer hiding behind a facade. You are engaging with others from a place of honesty and openness, which leads to more genuine relationships. It's important to understand that authenticity doesn't mean disregarding others' feelings or being rude. Being authentic is about being true to your own beliefs and values, while still being compassionate and empathetic toward others. You can still respect others' opinions and desires without sacrificing your own sense of self. It's about finding a balance between standing firm in your beliefs and being considerate of others without compromising your integrity in the process. Choosing authenticity over pleasing others also means embracing your uniqueness. The world often rewards those who blend in, who follow the norms, and who fit into predefined boxes. But true greatness comes from embracing what makes you different, from standing out in your own unique way. The most inspiring individuals are often the ones who dare to be themselves, who challenge the status quo, and who refuse to conform to societal expectations. When you stop trying to please everyone, you give yourself permission to live boldly and unapologetically. You become the person you were always meant to be, and that is a powerful thing. Living authentically also means that you are no longer afraid to fail. When you stop seeking validation from others, you free yourself from the fear of making mistakes or not measuring up. You stop seeing failure as a reflection of your worth and start seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Every setback, every challenge, every mistake becomes a stepping stone toward becoming the best version of yourself. You stop worrying about the judgment of others and begin to focus on your own journey, trusting that you are capable of overcoming whatever comes your way. In the pursuit of authenticity, there will be moments when you feel uncomfortable, when you face resistance, or when you question whether you are doing the right thing. These moments are part of the process. Growth and change are rarely easy, and breaking free from the habit of people-pleasing requires courage and persistence. But it is worth it. When you choose to be authentic, you create a life that is aligned with your values, your passions, and your purpose. You become more confident in your decisions, more comfortable in your own skin, and more connected to the world around you. The more authentic you become, the more you will inspire others to do the same. It's a ripple effect. When you embrace your true self, you give others permission to embrace theirs as well. And the beauty of living authentically is that it doesn't require approval from anyone else. You no longer need others to validate your worth or your choices. You stand tall in your own truth, knowing that the only opinion that matters is your own. You begin to see the world through a different lens, a lens that is not clouded by the need to please, but instead is clear and focused on what truly matters to you. The next time you find yourself tempted to say yes when you really mean no, or to suppress your own feelings to make someone else happy, remember this: you are worthy of living authentically. Your voice matters. Your dreams matter. Your peace matters. You are enough just as you are, and you don't need anyone's approval to be that person. When you stop living for others and start living for yourself, you begin to experience a freedom like no other. You will feel lighter, more empowered, and more at peace with who you are. The world may try to pull you in many directions, but when you are grounded in your authenticity, you will never lose sight of who you truly are. Authenticity is not a destination, it's a journey. It's a continuous process of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and self-expression. It's about embracing your imperfections, celebrating your uniqueness, and living a life that is true to who you are. It's time to stop pleasing others and start pleasing yourself by honoring your own truths. The world needs more people who are unapologetically themselves, and you have the power to be one of them. To be unapologetically yourself means embracing who you are without fear of judgment or criticism. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of living your truth, even if it doesn't fit the mold that society or others have placed before you. Being unapologetic doesn't mean being reckless or inconsiderate of others. It means showing up as your most authentic self, without shrinking or dimming your light to make others comfortable. It's about owning your uniqueness and letting the world see you for who you truly are. In a society that often encourages conformity, it can be difficult to embrace your individuality. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to fit in, to follow the rules, and to be nice. We learn that approval and acceptance come from blending in and adhering to societal norms. However, in the process, we often lose touch with our true selves. We begin to suppress our desires, our quirks, and our individuality in favor of pleasing others. We may start to wear a mask, pretending to be someone we're not, simply because we want to be liked or accepted. But the truth is, when you are not living authentically, you are living in a constant state of dissonance. You are not aligned with who you really are, and this creates inner conflict, dissatisfaction, and a sense of emptiness. The pressure to fit in and please others takes a toll on your mental and emotional well-being. You may find yourself feeling drained, disconnected, and unfulfilled. When you stop being unapologetically yourself, you lose the essence of who you are. Being unapologetic about who you are is an act of self-love and self-respect. It means standing firmly in your own beliefs, values, and identity without seeking validation or approval from anyone else. It requires the courage to accept and love yourself even in moments when the world might not understand or accept you. It means being comfortable with your quirks, your flaws, and your imperfections. Being unapologetically yourself is not about being perfect, but about being real. It's about allowing yourself the freedom to make mistakes, to learn, to grow, and to change without feeling the need to justify or explain your journey to others. When you choose to be unapologetic, you create space for your true self to emerge. You no longer feel the need to hide parts of yourself in order to fit in or avoid conflict. You give yourself permission to express your thoughts, ideas, and emotions without fear of judgment. This creates an environment in which you can thrive. You are free to pursue your passions, take risks, and live a life that is true to your own desires and values. You stop worrying about what others might think and start living for yourself. Being unapologetically yourself doesn't mean disregarding the feelings or needs of others. It's important to remember that you can be true to yourself while still being kind, compassionate, and respectful toward others. Being unapologetic is not about being arrogant or dismissive of others' opinions. It's about not allowing the opinions of others to dictate your actions or self-worth. You can honor your own needs and desires while still being considerate of the people around you. This balance allows you to maintain healthy relationships while still staying true to your authentic self. Another aspect of being unapologetically yourself is the willingness to take risks. Living authentically often requires stepping outside your comfort zone and doing things that might feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar. It may involve challenging societal expectations or breaking away from traditions and norms that no longer serve you. But the rewards of living unapologetically are immense. When you take risks and follow your own path, you open yourself up to new opportunities, experiences, and growth. You stop letting fear dictate your choices, and instead, you move forward with confidence and purpose. Taking risks is also a way of honoring your dreams and aspirations. When you stop seeking external approval and live according to your own desires, you start to realize that you are capable of achieving great things. You begin to trust in your abilities, and this self-confidence propels you forward. The more you embrace your true self, the more you are able to pursue the things that truly matter to you. Whether it's a career change, a creative project, or a new relationship, being unapologetic yourself allows you to make bold decisions that align with your heart and soul. One of the most powerful aspects of being unapologetically yourself is the impact it has on others. When you live authentically, you inspire those around you to do the same. You give them permission to be themselves without fear or shame. Your courage to be true to who you are creates a ripple effect, encouraging others to embrace their own authenticity. This creates a more open, inclusive, and supportive environment for everyone. When people see you living unapologetically, they begin to believe that they can do the same. You lead by example, showing others that it's possible to live authentically and thrive, even in a world that often pressures us to conform. Being unapologetically yourself is also a form of self-empowerment. It's about taking ownership of your life and your choices. When you stop seeking approval from others, you reclaim your power. You no longer feel like a passive participant in your own life. You become the author of your own story. You make decisions based on what feels right for you, rather than trying to meet other people's expectations. This sense of empowerment allows you to take control of your life and shape it in a way that aligns with your values and passions. Being unapologetically yourself requires resilience. It's not always easy to stay true to who you are, especially when society or others try to push you in a different direction. You will face challenges, criticism, and even rejection. But in those moments, it's important to remember that living authentically is worth it. The people who truly matter will support you for who you are, not for the person you pretend to be. And even when others may not understand or accept your choices, you can take comfort in knowing that you are living in alignment with your own truth. Being unapologetically yourself is about living with integrity. It's about honoring your values, your beliefs, and your authentic self in every aspect of your life. It's about giving yourself permission to be the person you were always meant to be without hiding or shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. The freedom that comes with living unapologetically is not only liberating for you, but it also inspires others to embrace their own authenticity, creating a world where everyone feels empowered to be their true selves. We all have dreams, aspirations, and goals that we want to achieve. However, the journey toward realizing them is often filled with challenges and obstacles that can make it difficult to stay motivated and focused. One of the most powerful tools to ensure that you are constantly moving forward is discipline. Discipline is the foundation upon which success is built. It is the key to consistency, perseverance, and the ability to stay on track, even when things get tough. Without discipline, even the most brilliant ideas and grandest dreams can fade away, because without action, they remain nothing more than wishes. Discipline is often misunderstood as a rigid, restrictive concept. Many people associate it with being harsh on oneself, forcing oneself to adhere to a set of rules or guidelines that feel limiting or unpleasant. But true discipline is not about punishment or restriction. It's about creating a structure that supports your growth, helps you stay focused, and allows you to achieve your long-term goals. Discipline is about making intentional decisions, about choosing actions that align with your values, priorities, and aspirations. It's about having the self-control to stay committed to your path even when distractions, temptations, or setbacks arise. One of the key elements of discipline is consistency. It's not enough to work hard or be motivated for a short period and then expect lasting results. Success comes from the small, consistent actions that we take every day. Whether it's showing up to work every day, making time for exercise, or taking steps toward your goals each day, consistency builds momentum. Over time, these small actions accumulate and lead to significant progress. It's easy to think that big results require massive dramatic actions, but in reality, it's the small, consistent efforts that have the most lasting impact. Discipline also involves prioritizing your long-term goals over short-term satisfaction. It's about resisting the temptation to give in to instant gratification and choosing actions that bring you closer to your dreams, even when they may not provide immediate rewards. This requires a shift in mindset. Instead of focusing on what feels good right now, discipline encourages you to focus on the bigger picture and make decisions that will pay off in the future. This may involve making sacrifices, such as choosing to study instead of going out with friends, or working on a project instead of binge watching your favorite show. It's not always easy, but the ability to delay gratification is one of the most powerful aspects of discipline. There will always be challenges, distractions, and setbacks along the way. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes things won't go as planned. However, discipline is what allows you to keep going even when faced with adversity. It's the ability to stay focused on your goals and maintain your commitment to your path, even when things get difficult. Having discipline means that you don't let temporary setbacks derail you from your long-term vision. Instead, you keep pushing forward, adapting to the circumstances, and finding ways to overcome obstacles. Another important aspect of discipline is self-awareness. To be truly disciplined, you must know yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and motivations. It's about understanding what drives you, what distracts you, and what holds you back. Self-awareness allows you to make intentional decisions and take action in alignment with your goals. It also helps you identify areas where you may need improvement, whether it's time management, focus, or self-control. Being aware of your own behavior and tendencies helps you build strategies that support your success. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself to act in ways that don't come naturally. It's about finding what works for you and creating systems that help you stay on track. Discipline is also closely tied to accountability. When you hold yourself accountable for your actions and decisions, you take ownership of your progress. This means being honest with yourself about whether or not you are staying committed to your goals. Accountability can be a powerful motivator, especially when you set clear, measurable goals and track your progress. It's easy to let things slip when you don't have anyone to answer to, but when you are accountable to yourself or to others, you are more likely to stay on track. This can mean having a mentor, a coach, or even a friend who helps you stay focused and pushes you to continue progressing. Building discipline takes time and effort. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's not always easy. But the rewards of discipline are worth the effort. Discipline allows you to achieve things that you might have once thought were impossible. It enables you to stay focused on your goals and take consistent action toward achieving them. Discipline doesn't mean that you won't face challenges or that you won't experience moments of doubt or frustration. It means that even in those moments, you will continue to move forward, trusting in the process and staying committed to your long-term vision. Developing discipline also means learning to be kind to yourself. While discipline requires commitment and consistency, it doesn't require perfection. There will be times when you slip up, make mistakes, or fall short of your expectations. But rather than giving up or being harsh on yourself, discipline involves getting back up and continuing forward. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. Each setback is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become more resilient. Saying no is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your life. Yet for many of us, it feels difficult or even impossible to do. We live in a world that often prioritizes other people's needs, expectations, and requests over our own. The idea of setting boundaries, of standing firm in our own desires, can feel selfish, rude, or uncomfortable. But the truth is, saying no is one of the healthiest, most self-respecting actions you can take. It is not just about refusing something you don't want. It is about protecting your energy, your peace, and your sense of self. We often say yes when we actually mean no because we fear disappointing others. We worry about what others might think of us, or we fear the consequences of not complying with requests. The desire to be liked, to avoid conflict, and to maintain harmony often overrides our need to honor our own limits. But what happens when we constantly say yes to things that we don't want to do or that drain us? We lose ourselves. We begin to feel overwhelmed, burned out, and disconnected from our true desires and values. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away or being inconsiderate. It's about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you say yes to everything, you end up spreading yourself too thin, leaving little to no space for your own well-being. It's a form of self-betrayal because you're neglecting your own needs and desires in favor of others. In order to give your best to those around you, you must first take care of yourself. Saying no is the form of self-care, a way of protecting your time, your energy, and your mental health. Saying no can also be an act of respect for both yourself and for others. When you set boundaries and say no to things that don't align with your values, you are asserting that your time, your energy, and your peace are important. You are also respecting the other person's time and energy by not overcommitting or spreading yourself too thin. It's easy to believe that saying yes will make us more likable or more useful to others, but in reality, it often leads to resentment, burnout, and a lack of fulfillment. One of the hardest aspects of saying no is the fear of disappointing others or making them feel bad. We might worry that by saying no, we'll hurt someone's feelings or damage a relationship, but the truth is, being honest about your limits helps build stronger, more genuine relationships. People who truly care about you will understand that you need to take care of yourself. And those who don't understand your need for boundaries might not be the healthiest relationships to maintain in the first place. It's important to remember that you are not responsible for other people's emotions or reactions. You are responsible for how you take care of yourself and for ensuring that you are not compromising your well-being. Learning to say no also helps to preserve your time and focus. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, and once it's spent, we can never get it back. Saying yes to every request, every invitation, and every obligation can leave you feeling scattered and exhausted. You may find yourself overcommitted and unable to focus on the things that truly matter to you, such as your passions, your goals, or your personal growth. When you learn to say no, you are freeing yourself to focus on what truly aligns with your values and priorities. There is also a huge difference between saying no to a request and saying no to a person. Saying no to someone's request does not mean rejecting them as a person or diminishing their worth. It's important to separate the two. By saying no, you are asserting that your time and energy are finite resources that need to be carefully allocated. It's not about rejecting anyone's value. It's about recognizing your own. You deserve to have your needs respected just as much as anyone else. Another key to setting boundaries and saying no is understanding that you don't have to justify your decision. Often we feel the need to explain ourselves when we say no, to offer a long list of reasons or excuses. But the truth is, you don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're setting a boundary. Your needs are valid and your time is yours to manage. Saying no is a simple act and it doesn't require a lengthy justification. You are allowed to say no without feeling guilty or obligated to explain yourself. At first, saying no may feel uncomfortable or awkward, especially if you are not used to asserting your boundaries. You may feel guilty or worried about disappointing others. However, with practice, setting boundaries becomes easier, and you will start to feel more empowered. The more you say no, the more you will recognize the benefits it brings: greater peace, more energy, and a stronger sense of self. The ability to say no is also deeply tied to understanding your own values and priorities. When you are clear on what is most important to you, saying no becomes easier because you know what you want to say yes to. You can evaluate each request or invitation based on whether it aligns with your goals and desires. If it doesn't, then it's easier to decline without guilt. Saying no becomes a powerful tool for staying focused on what matters most to you and for creating space for the things that truly bring you joy and fulfillment. Saying no is not about being selfish. It's about being self-aware, self-respecting, and self-caring. It's about giving yourself permission to prioritize your own well-being so that you can show up as your best self for the people and causes you care about. You are not responsible for fulfilling everyone's needs at the expense of your own. By saying no when necessary, you are not only protecting your time and energy, but also creating the space to be more present, more engaged, and more effective in the things that truly matter. You are worthy of having boundaries. You are worthy of saying no without guilt. You are worthy of protecting your peace and your time. Saying no is not just about refusing a request. It's about honoring your own needs, desires, and limitations, and allowing yourself to live a life that is authentic and fulfilling. To truly value yourself is to understand that your worth does not depend on external validation. In a world that constantly pressures us to seek approval from others, whether it's through likes on social media, praise from colleagues, or even the approval of family members, it's easy to forget that your value is inherent. It is not something that is awarded to you based on what you do or how others perceive you, but something that comes from within. Understanding and internalizing this is a crucial step toward living a life of purpose and authenticity. We are often taught from a young age that our worth is determined by how well we perform or how much we contribute. This might look like getting good grades in school, excelling in sports, or earning praise for helping others. While these achievements are valuable and important, they don't define us. Our worth isn't tied to what we accomplish, but to who we are as individuals. Each of us has an intrinsic value that cannot be measured by external achievements or the opinions of others. For many people, it is difficult to separate their worth from their actions or from the way others perceive them. They may seek validation by doing more, taking on extra work, saying yes to every request, or constantly striving to meet others' expectations. But this constant quest for external validation often leads to burnout, frustration, and feelings of inadequacy. The truth is, when we tie our worth to others' opinions, we lose sight of who we really are. We become dependent on approval rather than learning to approve of ourselves. Self-worth is built on the understanding that you are enough just as you are. It is not about perfection, nor is it about constantly striving for external approval. It is about acknowledging your own value without needing anyone to tell you that you are worthy. When you internalize this, you begin to make decisions based on what is best for you, rather than seeking approval or trying to meet the expectations of others. You start to trust your own judgment, embrace your strengths and weaknesses, and develop the confidence to stand by your choices. One of the biggest challenges to valuing yourself is learning to let go of the need for external validation. We live in a world where praise, recognition, and approval are often seen as measures of success. Social media has amplified this desire for validation as it constantly encourages us to seek likes, comments, and shares. It can be difficult to break free from this cycle of needing validation from others, but it is essential for your mental and emotional well-being. When you are constantly seeking validation from external sources, you put yourself in a position where your happiness and self-worth are dependent on something you can't control. The moment someone disagrees with you or fails to recognize your worth, you are left feeling diminished. Learning to value yourself means realizing that no one else's opinion of you is more important than how you see yourself. When you learn to approve of yourself, you become less susceptible to criticism and less affected by the opinions of others. This doesn't mean that you become indifferent to what others think, but rather that you no longer base your self-worth on it. You start to find satisfaction within yourself rather than seeking it from outside sources. Self-worth is also tied to self-compassion. It's about treating yourself with kindness, especially in moments of failure or mistakes. So often, we are our own harshest critics, berating ourselves for perceived shortcomings and holding ourselves to impossibly high standards. When you value yourself, you recognize that mistakes are not a reflection of your worth, but part of being human. You begin to treat yourself with the same compassion that you would offer to a friend who is struggling. You acknowledge your flaws without allowing them to define you. This self-compassion creates a foundation of emotional resilience, helping you to bounce back from setbacks and continue moving forward with confidence. Another important aspect of valuing yourself is learning to set healthy boundaries. When you recognize your worth, you understand that you deserve respect, time, and space. You no longer feel the need to constantly please others or put their needs ahead of your own. Instead, you honor your own limits and protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, a way of affirming that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. It is not selfish to prioritize yourself. It is necessary for maintaining a balanced and fulfilling life. Valuing yourself also involves embracing your uniqueness. In a world that often encourages us to conform, it can be easy to feel like we don't measure up. But when you value yourself, you learn to appreciate your individuality. You understand that your quirks, your personality, your experiences, and your perspectives make you who you are, and that is something to be celebrated. You stop comparing yourself to others and start recognizing that your journey is your own. This acceptance of yourself frees you from the trap of constantly trying to live up to someone else's standards or expectations. When you truly value yourself, you start to make decisions that align with your authentic desires and values. You are no longer swayed by the opinions of others or by the pressure to conform. Instead, you act in ways that feel true to you, even if it means making choices that others may not understand or approve of. This courage to live authentically is rooted in the belief that your own happiness and fulfillment are just as important as anyone else's. And the more you value yourself, the more you begin to attract people and opportunities that reflect that value. When you have a strong sense of self-worth, you are no longer willing to settle for relationships or situations that don't honor or respect you. You begin to surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, and you find yourself saying yes to opportunities that align with your goals and values. The more you believe in your own worth, the more others will recognize and respect it as well.